Coming up this week, Anthropic's Claude gets a powerful new feature that could mark the beginning of the end for traditional SaaS products. Perplexity CEO shares his view on how to build successful products, with a sneak preview on what's next for Comet. And the latest Consumer Trends report shows us how people are using AI in 2025, with one product beating all the rest. Stay tuned for all of that and more. And as always, if you enjoy the briefing, hit the subscribe and the like button. So first up this week, Anthropic's Claude has released a new feature called Connectors. Now, these are essentially a new way for you to connect with third-party apps through MCP, but without all of the hassle that is traditionally associated with MCP servers. The initial lineup includes MCP servers from Stripe, Linear, Figma, Google Calendar, and others, which are all super relevant for product teams. This means you can do things like get status updates from user stories, sales information from Stripe, or a snapshot of your upcoming meetings without ever having to leave the Claude UI. This is extremely handy if you're a Claude user, but it does mean that slowly but surely the disintermediation of products is happening. As more of these MCP connections are adopted, then users are increasingly less likely to visit those products in the first place. And OpenAI's new reported feature could accelerate this trend further. It has been reported this week that OpenAI is testing a new checkouts feature that lets users make payments through ChatGPT without ever having to leave the app. According to the information, this checkout feature involves early partnerships with e-commerce platforms like Shopify and could mark a major step towards ChatGPT becoming the place where you can do pretty much everything. A former OpenAI employee also published a piece this week on what life was like at the startup. He says that small senior teams were a fundamental part of building products at OpenAI, and that major products like Codex were built by small, experienced teams of approximately 8 engineers, 4 researchers, 2 designers, and a product manager. He says that generally, engineering managers are hands-off and that building multiple prototypes for the same product is common before converging on a launch date. Elsewhere this week, Perplexity CEO has teased a mobile version of their browser, Comet. Speaking on X, he said that the mobile version is in the works already and that the team are moving at a pace that's fast even for Perplexity standards. Their CEO also conducted an interview this week with Y Combinator, and this interview contains some interesting nuggets about how the company builds products. He says that the ultimate goal of Perplexity is to rethink how we search, browse, and interact with information online. He says that the teams obsess over user experience, and that even when competing with giants, a product that is faster, more accurate, and easy to use can win users. He says that user experience, in his view, is a key differentiator for Perplexity. He also says that product teams should be willing to adapt their product vision as technology and user needs evolve, but that teams should avoid changing direction too quickly. AI tools can dramatically speed up development, he argues, but core engineering skills remain vital, especially for critical infrastructure. Building products is hard, he says, but that staying motivated and persistent with a never-give-up attitude is crucial for long-term success. And speaking of Perplexity and their new browser, Comet, in the latest Knowledge series, I get hands-on experience with Comet as part of the latest AI Playground. It's been 6 months since the last AI Playground over on Substack, and in this new edition, I explore 10 ways you can use AI at work, including auditing user journeys and performing agentic actions with Perplexity Comet, getting insights from spreadsheets with the new AI function in Google Sheets, and building a voice-first user onboarding assistant with 11 Labs conversations. So here's an example of how 11 Labs voice assistants could transform user onboarding by taking over a user's browser and redirecting them exactly where they need to go.
Hey there, I'm Elle from 11 Labs Support. How can I help you today?
Hi, I'm looking for your API documentation.
Sure thing, I can definitely help you with that. I'll go ahead and redirect you to our API reference documentation.
Meanwhile, Google has launched a new feature for Notebook LM. This is called Featured Notebooks, and it's essentially a curated collection of publicly available notebooks that users can use as a foundation for creating their own. This initial lineup includes the entire works of Shakespeare, longevity advice from Eric Topol, and a notebook tracking the earnings reports from top companies. Google has also rolled out a new feature that lets AI call businesses on your behalf. Now, this feature was first announced back in January, but it is finally seeing the light of day. And in other news, AWS held a major summit this week in New York. In it, the company announced Clso, which is its own competitor to the likes of Windsurf and Codex for engineering teams, which combines AI agent with project specifications, and a new set of AI agent services called Bedrock Agent Core. Now, this comes with a bunch of different capabilities that product teams can use if they're building their own AI agents, including agent core memory, which makes it easier to build context-aware agents by giving them access to short-term and long memory, which means that you can share memory across different agents. They also announced a browser tool which gives agents a browser that they can use to interact with websites, and a code interpreter which allows these agents to write and execute code in their own secure sandbox environments. Some of the demos that were on show included agents for automating tasks like generating invoices, a loan processing agent for applying for food assistance by filling in multiple complex web forms, and a bunch more. So if you're interested in learning more about some of the new AI agent features offered by AWS, then check out the keynote speech from that event. Now let's take a look at some tools you can use. And we'll start off with a new tool from the AI company Reflection, which has raised over 130 million so far. This is called Asimov, and it's an AI coding agent with a difference. Now, I'm not entirely sure about this name Asimov, but let's not be distracted by that. This is an AI agent that can not only create code, but it can also understand your entire code base. So Asimov will ingest your entire code base, including architectural documents, GitHub threads, chat history, and more. So the idea here is that it not only understands the code that has been written, but also some of the contextual decisions that were made by engineers to give it a wider understanding of your code base. So for example, it has this feature called Team Memories, which is where engineers will tell Asimov about some of the nuances and smaller architectural decisions that were made by the human engineers. This, Reflection argues, allows Asimov to capture what they describe as tribal knowledge and then make this available to your team. Now, I can see how this could be super helpful for the cases where an engineer might leave, but their handover notes don't quite do the good job of explaining some of the historical decisions, which in turn leads to tech debt. So if you're looking for new ways to not only use AI during the code creation process, but also to help you build a contextual knowledge base, then check out Asimov from Reflection. Another product to check out this week is Clso. So Clso allows you to create product demo videos in minutes. It allows you to convert PowerPoint slides or Google Slides of your product into product demos, and it'll use techniques like smart auto zooms and even generate an AI voiceover for your product demo video. So if you're looking for quick ways to produce product demo videos for your own product, then check out Clso. And the final product for this week is something called Basic Memory. And in many ways, this is almost like Asimov, but for your own knowledge. The main value proposition of Basic Memory is that it will transform your AI conversations into a structured, interconnected knowledge base. So let's say you spend a lot of time chatting to Anthropic's Claude, then this product will take the history of those conversations and then create a knowledge graph of that and organize that information in a way that makes retrieval of that information and understanding connections between the different pieces of information much easier. So if you spend a lot of time having conversations with AI, but you want a better way to structure it, then check out Basic Memory. Now let's move on to some data and trends for the week. And the big report that's just been published this week is the biannual Consumer Trends Report from The New Consumer. Now this report is over 120 pages long, but it does contain a bunch of AI-specific information that might be of interest. The first is that 98% of Americans are now aware of the existence of artificial intelligence. And to put this into context, awareness of AI is now higher than the likes of Doritos, TikTok, and Viagra. Now that's probably not surprising, but interesting to see it contextualized in that way. US consumer spending on ChatGPT has more than doubled year over year and is up 168%. And the retention of OpenAI's consumer product now looks a little bit like a mid-grade streaming product. So this is hovering around the 50% mark year on year, which is comparable to the retention rates of Paramount Plus. The report also says that OpenAI's ChatGPT wins on awareness, with 74% of respondents saying they are aware of ChatGPT, up from just 37% 2 years ago, followed by Meta AI, Google Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot. More than 60% of Gen Zers and millennials say they have used AI for work, and the top use cases at work include things like research, writing emails and memos, and learning new skills. So that's just a sample of some of the data that is included in this report. And if you want the full report, you can find that in the description. But while ChatGPT is dominating the consumer space, Microsoft's Copilot appears to be winning the AI enterprise wars. According to a new survey, 82% of enterprise respondents say that they have adopted Microsoft's Copilot in their business versus 71% for ChatGPT. But on the consumer level, Microsoft's consumer mobile product is still far behind. According to stats quoted by Bloomberg, Microsoft's mobile app has achieved just 79 million downloads versus 900 million for ChatGPT. And continuing the theme of mobile apps, if you work on a mobile app in your business, then you may also be interested in the new State of In-App Subscriptions report that was published this week. In it, it shows that weekly mobile subscriptions now contribute 46% of iOS app revenue, which is up 9.5% year on year. US installs generate 3 to 4 times more revenue than other regions, and retention continues to be a major problem for mobile apps, with only single-digit users remaining after a year. So if you work on mobile products in your own business, then check out that report. We've also got some new data this week on the adoption of AI agents. According to the KPMG AI Quarterly Pulse Survey, 68% of enterprise companies, that is companies with over 1,000 employees, have already adopted agentic AI, and 33% of all companies say that they've adopted them. Nearly half, 46%, are equally prioritizing efficiency gains and revenue growth, and New Relic says it is seeing 30% quarter-on-quarter growth in AI applications by customers. One area where AI agents are dominating, of course, is in engineering, and this week Gumroad's CEO says that the era of front-end engineers earning 200 to 400k is officially over. In a pretty bold post that he made over on X, he says that there was a period where you could make 200 to 400k just by knowing how to code front ends. That period lasted from 2015 to 2024, but is now over since Claude 4 is good enough for any product designer who codes or back-end engineer to take over 99% of the work. This means that the front-end engineer will be jobless unless they adapt by taking someone else's job. Now, Gumroad's CEO is notorious for these types of controversial statements, but is he right? Well, that remains to be seen, but one area that AI agents definitely struggle with is running their own shop. So this is in reference to a new research paper by Anthropic, which involves a case study where they allowed the AI model Claudius to run their own store independently. So it managed its own inventory, set prices, interacted with customers, and requested physical help via email. But the results don't paint a picture of a world where AI agents can take control quite yet, not unless you want your store to lose money. So in the results, it was found that this agent missed profitable opportunities, so it ignored a $100 offer for a product that cost $15. It was easily persuaded to give discounts to users, or indeed to give them completely free items, even when it hurt profitability, and it sometimes sold items at a loss and failed to adjust prices in response to demand or competition. Overall, the net worth of the company declined, as you can see in this graph. And so if you are concerned about the potential takeover of AI agents, then this suggests that humans still have the upper hand on AI agents, for now at least. And on that note, I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for listening and watching. I'll be back next week with another briefing.